Incredible comebacks in the King Price Derby series in KZN and Gauteng, and then we build up to Noord-Suid. From King Edward VII School, it's time for Rugby on 216. Welcome to another episode of Rugby on 216. We're on tour. We're at King Edward VII School. King Edward and Jeppe have just wrapped up an incredible King Price Derby series encounter. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all the fixtures that have taken place in this slightly long weekend, so shorter week. I've got a very happy man immediately to my left. Sput?
2 out of 2, baby. 2 out of 2. Early in the 90s or mid-90s, the song was written. Goes like this. We are black. We are white, we are dynamite. Originally written for the Sharks, of course. Fitting for Jeppe. Oh man, what a game. What a game. I'm tired. I sat in commentary there and it was an emotionally charged atmosphere. For drama and theatre, Alex, I don't think a lot of schoolboy games this year will come close to this. Yes, there'll be other schoolboy sides cooks that'll go, we can beat you. It was you're decent or whatever. But for pure drama and theatre, absolutely right up there to all school games I've ever been to.
Well, I told you, Cooks, as soon as we were done and doing some interviews here, that I don't think I've ever been to a schoolboy rugby match that was more exciting, especially as a neutral. I didn't pick sides like you guys. So I was just going one way, then the other. It was a roller coaster, but not so much in the first half. We thought, okay, King Edward, they've got this sorted. And then Jeppe to come back and withstand so much pressure and some amazing clearances. Cooks, I'm sorry that you're in red today. It still looks good on you, but slightly sadder today.
I think I'm more upset that my big pick, my big take didn't even last me to the school holidays.
That's the first big call we're striking off immediately.
Didn't even make it to the school holidays. I couldn't even make it into April.
Is there a time where one's role as an analyst is under pressure? Because if you can't get to episode 4...
If the one, I should have maybe... I'm not going to find another one, but I'm scared. But
maybe your big pick should be that Jeppe will win both.
If my luck this weekend is, we'll talk about the Noord-Suid game, is that both the sides that I picked were up by quite a big margin and then find themselves on the losing side. But, Alex, you mentioned... King Edward boys, and that first off, I thought they were fantastic. I thought the forwards were very good. The likes of, the captain Sam Brewer, Chinedu Armando was immense, carrying the ball defensively as well, making huge hits, and they sort of started dominating and allow themselves to get the game line-out time. The way Michael Barnes was calling the line-outs, and he really felt like Kes had control of that game. And whenever Jeppe sort of tried to get in there, Jeppe could not string together 3 phases today. And yes, maybe Jeppe was a bit slow at the blocks, but also defensively, I thought Kes was fantastic. And then flipped the switch in the second half, and then Jeppe outstanding. But it's a funny old game that, because if you're King Edward at the moment, they're probably sitting there going, man, like, we could see 37 points, and you're going a bad probably 25 minutes from them, and it takes away a very good 30 minutes. And unfortunately, the fine margins, especially in the derby, the emotions go. And put you in commentary, I was sitting there up there with you. We could feel the momentum switch.
Definitely. Winning the collisions. And it started so innocuously. It started out of nowhere. King Edward was winning all the collisions all the afternoon. Amadi was brilliant. He got them over the advantage line time and time again, as did Brewer. Sam Smith in the midfield, enormous. Grade 11, almost unbelievable. He was so physical. and they were winning all of those collisions.
And Spud, what's funny as well, talking about collision, sorry. We mentioned it, I think, in the stepping episode, you talk about those golden minutes as well, where Kes scored just before half time, and then as the second half started, bang, get a penalty, and then go up 23-6. Now you're thinking back like, oh, that's the perfect start. And then you 9 times out of 10, the side who scores in the golden minutes tends to win the game.
All things considered, one of the best schoolboy rugby comebacks that I've seen. Because you know it's always going to be tight between the two. So 17 points is a massive lead. It is in a derby like this, it is humongous to lead by 17. So, but it was right what Cook said, it was a flip of a switch. Because all of a sudden, and we mentioned in commentary, all of a sudden they were dominating the collisions. They were going forward. Now Lechao scores a try on the left wing, brand new into the first team. Guys thought he was going to be in trouble against Mbui. So, there he scores a try. Sihlangu, the king of the match, enormous. He just never died in contact in that second half. He's got a leg drive that is absolutely enormous. So, for me, that was the change. Winning the collisions and keeping their composure on attack better. They were very impatient the few times they had the ball in the first half. But in the second half, they started stringing phases together. And when you're on the front foot, you win the collisions, and you go to double-figure phases, you're going to score. That's as simple as that.
It's also easy to win collisions when you like Funeka running at them. I thought at hooker, I thought he was fantastic as well. I mean, some hard carries. There's some sure King Edward shoulders today having to try to tackle Funeka. And also, interesting enough with Jeppe, I spoke to one of the coaches after the game, Thabo Sisuse, and he said it just felt like that comeback came. They were just like coming up the hill because they just could not get going in that first half, and they needed something. And it happened that break there. They get a break where people maybe look forward, but the ball travel backwards, and then from there the momentum changed. And for me, the composure of Jeppe, when Kes came back, I mean it was 23-all, and then Kes scored an absolute ripper, and you thought, oh, okay, maybe that's taken the light out of Jeppe because they've worked so hard to come back, and then King Edward scores an absolute ripper of a try, but then they kept knocking on the door. Jeppe kept knocking on the door, and finally they got rewarded, and then it was very well to close it out.
Let's talk about that absolute ripper of a try, Regan McGurk. You said in commentary live, contender for try of the season.
Definitely. You're going to go a long way this year to get a better try scored than that. It went through 7, 8, 9 hands,
and all within the 15.
Yeah, it was, and for a replacement, who came onto the field, Tag, I think, to score that is absolutely fantastic. And there was a few replacements today that actually was well worth being on the field at the stage that they were. So McGurk, he was really good today as well. Very impressive. I talked up Talent Sitoli and the battle between them before the game. And it was a battle, but it was one that McGurk won, in all fairness. He was a class act out there today. Yes, Sitoli started coming back into the game late in that second half, but the way McGurk was controlling things, as a 9, he almost didn't deserve to lose that game. He made the right decisions. He kicked at the right times. He tapped quickly at the right times. He looks a very, very polished number 9.
And once that momentum switched, once that switch was literally flipped, like you say, it wasn't like King Edward were out the match, right? It was still tough for Jeppe. They absorbed a huge amount of pressure on their line, and I have to talk about the one moment where King Edward had a little bit of a break, put them under super pressure, and it was Lindelani Nkambule, the number 13, who was inside his own in goal. He put a kick on the back foot that bounced just outside in King Edward's half in the 50 here. Sensational to do that under so much pressure, and it's moments like that meant that they could come back.
So we wanted actually in commentary to make that the Suzuki game-changing moment, but in the end, the try to take them into the lead from the replacement tight head, it's sort of that. But in all fairness, that probably should have been that moment because it was game-changing and it was brilliant. I wanted to see more of him, but I think that midfield was so well controlled by Sam Smith.
Oh, he was brilliant.
I thought we were listening to the radio. You were talking about Sam Smith so much, but it wasn't anyone making music. It was the centre.
He's a great 11, as is Letzi, who he played against, who was just as good for Jeppe, and they're going to fight it out, if not this year, then next year to play in that Craven week. That I can assure you.
And it was a massive fight in the midfield battle. I thought It's such an interesting game because, if you're JP, you're sort of walking away, looking at the first half and trying to figure out how could we not get such momentum, because funny enough, once they get going and they get those game breakers going, they are very, very hard to stop. And they've got a big pack of forwards that they can get around the park. I thought their lineup was fantastic today. They backed their back ball. I'm sure Drickus Fender was worrying at the end there when they went to it and they sort of missed it. Funny enough, that was the first probably throw for niggas missed all day. Their back ball was working well all day. So like, if you're JP, I mean, it's such an interesting game. I mean, I'm still amazed at how that game was. I mean, for it to go down to attempt a drop goal, and if someone like Andrew Jackson he's probably kicking himself. He's probably devastated. But for me, it's the character to want that moment. It's him stepping up. He's only been playing first team for a little bit. I mean, obviously, having to debutize Vuyo is no mean feat. But now he's got the 10 jersey, he's taking the reins, and to go in a derby that I'm going to put myself in this position. Called it early. We mentioned it off camera. Maybe could have gone earlier.
Ruck earlier?
Yeah.
Ruck earlier when they weren't expecting it. Because you go back into the pocket and you've got those 3 or 4 seconds where you can catch them off guard. That's the thing. Because, it takes a bit of time, your head's down, and now, oh, yes, there's the fly off. I've got to go. And maybe he gets that split second extra. But 150% agree with you. The way that he wanted the ball in there, and he was shouting at McGurk. And it was fantastic to see. It did not work out today, but it will in future, because that shows the character of the young man. Say, I'll take control, I'll win us this derby. In the end, it got charged down. It wasn't a fairy tale ending for the Reds, nor was it a fairy tale ending for Andrew Jackson. But kudos to him, and I'll take my hat off to him.
If we jump to the Jeppe side then with Hollenbach at 10, I think throughout the match today there were some fantastic kicks at goal from far out, from the edges of the field. There were some closer ones missed, only 1 or 2, and then there were some fantastic touch finders as well. How do you rate? I'm thinking ahead to next week with Jeppe Grey College and how big an impact Matthew Kutsia played last time round and how important he was to that victory. But talk to us a little bit about Hollenbach.
I think he grew into the game. He didn't have a brilliant first half. He didn't have a great start. Kicked a couple directly into touch, and that sort of affected his confidence. So, but he definitely grew into it. And his nickname is the General. And at a stage in that second half, you could see he became that. And that was when they got onto the front foot. And that's the most important thing for a 9 and a 10. It's so easy to play there when you're going forward. It becomes tougher when you're going backwards. That's when you try and create those angles for your kicks and you kick them directly into touch. It happens. So I'll give him a definite pass mark. Is he going to challenge the big boot of Jan-Hendrik van der Linden when they play Grey College? I'm not sure. That remains to be seen. Remember, Matthew Kutsia doesn't have a monster boot. He just has a very accurate one. And that troubled Grey College. So if you can be accurate out of hand and accurate off the tee, then yes, he can definitely trouble it.
And funny enough with Hollenbach, I mean, you only missed one we shanked completely. I just, like Sput mentions my drive. It's like my golf drive.
Never come sit up top again. It's just too easy because then there's a point of reference.
And we can't answer.
I was getting bleak. I was getting attacked by Sput. But to be fair, Sput's not wrong about my drive. And but Hollenbach showed again what having a good kicker can do for us. When Jeppe was down and couldn't get the game, they still kept themselves at 10-6, and then the game got away. But even then, you had to make big kicks. And there's a kick in the corner to make it a 10-point game. Another big kick in the corner to make it a 2-point game. Another big kick where he's going to now goes to a penalty where it becomes a tied game. And none of those kicks were easy. The easiest one is the one he shanked.
Literally.
That's the one he shanked. I mean, he put quite a few over. And I think, like you said, if you want to play, we played against Grey College last year. I mean, we saw that what Matthew could see in his boot. So for next week, it's they might get 6 chances, and he might just start 5. Whether it's by penalties or maybe they'll try. So if you have a kicker like that, we show how deadly accurate he was. I mean, like today, those massive kicks, and it just felt like at times like he said they had his boot to keep them going and plug away and chip away. Even when they were going along, we're like, at least we're getting something. We're getting 3 or 4. Maybe on the kids side, there's times that they could be thinking, should we take poles here? There's times they didn't go for poles as well. So I think Hollenbach is going to be very, very key. It was key today, will be even more key next week.
All right, well, then at the end of it all, Jeppe 37, King Edward 28. Sput's a happy man because his pick was right, and he is on 100% success rate so far this season here on Rugby on 2 on 6.
I'm a gambling man.
Well, if we talk...
Some might call you a gunslinger because you go hard, man. No, you go hard. Yeah, to be fair, this has been the most difficult one to predict, and I think it'll remain a difficult one to predict for the second game, and it'll remain a difficult one to predict for the next 5 years.
Well, as Cooks listens to his Kenny Rogers and keeps going for the tough calls, Maritzburg College Northwood 21-24, but the story out of that is that it was 21-7 to Maritzburg College with 7 minutes to play. So for most of the weekend, Cooks, in terms of time, you had chosen the right sides, just not at full time.
So I'm gonna put together a petition that all schoolboy rugby games are now 60 minutes, because otherwise I'd been 2 for 2 this weekend. If the game is 60 minutes, I'd have been sorted. I'd have been cruising. But it shows. It's such a controversial game because I thought Maritzburg College was very good, and they bounced back from last week, and the way they control the game at 21-7. You're probably thinking, let's ride the ship home. But again, Northwood showed just did not want to go away, refused to go away, and then it's one of those things. But sometimes as if you got that 2-score lead, it feels comfortable with what 7 minutes to go until you can see that stage, and then you're going from 7 minutes, go from comfortable, and you're going, oh geez, now Maritzburg College is sort of holding on for dear life, and you could see that when it's like, it's so weird, like with certain sides, even some of the sides today here, we saw the junior sides, and you see this sometimes with schoolboy sides when they have a chance to kill the game, and they don't, and they sort of get in a situation where they concede their try, then they try their hardest now, then they go back in their shell completely, and you're just inviting pressure, and at Northern keep knocking the door. And I think the Northern coaches also said, Cook said, Messi must have reminded them one of the team talks, and then they found a try, and then
as you said, I mean, you are really setting up your favourites for failure by erring, and obviously, and this is the beauty of this program, and the beauty of these debates, and the beauty of this chats is we're going to make some people very happy by predicting they'll win, and others will walk past me in this black jersey and go,
all I know is the coaches, the Jeppe coaches and Northern coaches will probably ring me to remind me of my results. But I talked to you about Alex. I saw you guys in the first episode that I got a curse. I saw Caraman Songy over there. I still have not gone to a big game with the Union, a big derby, and the home side has won. This has been from 2022 now.
And we said you're the reason.
This is the year that
don't
it
worry,
ends.
Don't worry. I said I'll take you to Great College.
Are you sure?
Don't worry.
Paul Riss is going to win again.
It'll change. Don't worry.
We can pick the. You should have gone with Valkom from last year.
They haven't lost at home since 2017.
Okay.
It's all right.
Okay. Again, you're doing this again. Now you're going to put it on me now.
They also didn't win. They also didn't lose away this weekend, beating Monash 47-3. Both of you picked Monash Grey College, obviously, to win that one. So you do get one right there for the weekend, Cooks, which brings your tally for the season to 33% and Sputs to 100. So
you got to remember just to watch the last 30 seconds of the match as well. Monash did score right at the end, so it's 47-8. Oh, that's true. Yeah. But demolition job. More comfortable than expected, I suppose. Taking into account that they missed 8 conversions at goal. They scored 9 tries. So I want to put that into perspective. You don't go to the Ras and score 9 tries. I don't know if an opposing side has ever scored 9 tries on the Ras van Rooyen, which is the main rugby field of Monash. It was a performance out of character for the Witbulle. They were out-muscled up front, which I don't think was expected. I think it was expected that they would at least hold their own, and then it'll
hold their own against
at the backs.
Yeah.
But if you're going to give Tariq Shambril, Ethan the Tank Adams, Lamlam Gedezi, Benjamin van der Berg, front football, you're going to pay the price. And that was Monash did. They gave them front football. The first 10 minutes, as you would expect, was a tight affair. And Great College scoring almost against the run of play They were in their own half, and then Sherwin base with a great effort to open the scoring. But after that, I think it's a really, really good Great College backline. I think their forwards, that was their best performance thus far of the year. And obviously, it's a cliche to say, but it does send out a bit of a warning. Just, we're going nowhere. We've never been going anywhere. We'll be at the party when it's decided who's the best school side in South Africa.
Do you think this weekend's put interesting enough? Last week you mentioned that Affie's made a statement with that massive win against Helpmakar, and now it's Great College's turn. And I think all eyes now look towards Noord-Suid, because that's the first time everyone comes together again and going, okay, we've had a few games in, we've made statements. Now it's time for the big boys to get together, and there's a massive clashes at Noord-Suid, which we'll be there for. So would you say it was a great statement?
Yeah, statement, but also statement of consistency. To me, that's the big thing. You know, you speak about a lot of school sides, and you speak about, listen, Affie's, just a week prior before the statement, we said, okay, maybe they're worried. Yeah. When they struggled a bit against Diamantveld. You know, I'll give you an example. It's not on our list to talk about, but Paul Roos Gymnasium, 26-22 win against RTS Drosday. So are they now worried? And will they then make a statement next week? You get what I'm saying? For Great College, they've got this knack of almost flatlining throughout a season. They're pretty much at the same level, you know, for a long period of time. Yes, they got beaten.
It's not a high level.
It's a very high level.
Yeah.
No, not flatlining in the most positive way. I can mean it. And last night, yeah, everything worked out for them, or Friday night, rather, everything worked out for them. And you'll get days where it doesn't, and where you need those kickers. So Van der Linden and Erwia will probably already be training their goal kicking. But a great win at the Ras van Rooyen, and a not so great start for Dr. Jannie du Plessis and Reinhard Gerber, which two of the nicest guys in rugby. But I'm sure they'll recover quite quickly.
Great College, Jeppe, you spoke about it. You spoke about Noord-Suid. We're going to talk about that when we come back from the break. Just quickly to mention, you guys are obviously wearing old school jerseys. There's a new partnership between SuperSport schools and old schools. So there is a Jeppe jersey, there is a Kez jersey, which you can buy online on Takealot and at Old School's website and through the schools. If you want to get your school involved, just go and check out Old School's website. You can find out how to do that. We're going to take a quick break. Like I said, when we come back, we're talking all things Noord-Suid. We'll see you in a bit.
Some things you don't choose. They choose you. A name, a history, a legacy that came long before you and will last long after you're gone. It's not just about the game. It's the moments that shape you. The early mornings, the long bus rides, the chants that never fade. The friendships, the rivalries, the feeling of being part of something bigger. It's a belonging. Something you carry with you wherever you go. Because once you're a part of it, you always will be.
In a world where every second counts, will he make it on time? Out here on the streets, anything can happen when the odds are stacked against you. One man finds the will, the drive, the passion to steer his path to destiny. It's a Swift.
Welcome back to Rugby on 2 and 6. We're on tour at King Edward VII School. It's brought to you by Thirsty, and we're thirsty for more action here on the show. Noord-Suid is coming up. We've been talking about it since our very first episode. There are some mouth-watering encounters, a bit of a change. Obviously, it's down in the Western Cape at Paul Roos for the first time, not being played up north. So Noord-Suid is coming to the south. Initial impressions about that?
Big change. Massive change. Change in conditions, change in altitude. Underfoot conditions will be remarkably different. You know, Boere Plaas, the main field of Affies, is a very much a running rugby field, as is the one we're sitting on currently. You know, it's high felt. It's although not rock hard underfoot, it's shorter grass. You know, back in the Western Cape, always feels muddy, although it isn't. You know, the grass is just thicker. You feel like you can't get away as a backline player. Luckily, your opponent feels the same way. But you know, it's remarkably different, and there are certain sides who will struggle more for that.
I think so. The interesting part for me with Noord-Suid now is like the introduction of all some of the new styles. Like you see some of the Southern Summer schools coming along, Sachs, Rondebosch. I think that adds a different dimension to Noord-Suid. I mean, so I'm very excited for it, and I do like the idea of mixing it up. And I'm excited to see, like, will it be back and forth? Does it go back to Affies next year? Or maybe they'll find another school in the north and you go somewhere else in the south. So there's also room for possibilities there. And I'm very excited to see it. I think it's I think now we've had about 3 or 4 weeks now of schoolboy rugby. So we can't wait to see the guys come together. It feels like the season is about to turn the corner now.
Talking about some of the new schools, so obviously mentioned Rondebosch, Sachs, we think Diamantfeld as well, and obviously, I'm going to try not to talk about them, but I spoke to Drickus Venter after this match about Jeppe, because Jeppe are playing Rondebosch and they're playing Grey College, and I said, well, I'm not going to support you in the first game, but I'm very much going to support you in the second one. But I'm not making any picks. That's not my role. That's your guys' role. So let's talk about a couple of these fixtures and some of the new sides. Sachs are playing Welkom and King Edward, who we've obviously just seen today. Rondebosch play Nelspruit and Jeppe. Diamantfeld plays Rustenburg. Talk to me about the sides that are going to be experiencing the magic of Noord-Suid for the first time.
Also, don't forget about the Mzoli Mali 23. That's going to be there as well. So that's going to be exciting. We see incredible opportunity for those kids to go to one of the biggest schoolboy rugby festivals. And also, never mind just playing, just also watching and learning from seeing some of the best players, seeing how a great college operates, how a Paul Roos and a Paul Jim. And it's going to be exciting as they're clearing the fields there. It's going to be exciting. And for me, out of all those new sides, I'm very, very excited to see them joining in my 23. I think it's such an incredible opportunity for those kids and the coaches as well.
We had Lincoln Marley on the show last week, who obviously runs the foundation that puts on the Mzondile Mali tournament and then selects that team. And he is ecstatic. He's so excited for it.
Yeah, to go back to your new teams, I think the teams that can make a real statement, and geez, I can't believe I'm going to say this, is Rondebosch. They're a quality outfit. You know, we can joke around here on the show, and myself and Alex can chat about his affinity for the southern suburbs and the good life and things like that. But they are a quality side. In Josh Neal, Aluta Wesi, and the likes, they've got a quality pack of forwards who'll be able to mix it up with like the more traditional powerhouse packs in South Africa. So yeah, I back them, I back them to make a statement at the tournament and play really good rugby. A couple of sides that I'm looking forward to seeing out of a central South Africa point of view is Bethlehem Voortrekker and Diamantfeld. I really do believe Diamantfeld has got a quality rugby side this year. A couple of little tweaks after that game against Affies, and I really do believe they'll be good. And then Bethlehem Voortrekker, you know, they always punch above their weight, Cooksy. Always. They just heart and soul and pour everything into their rugby, into their athletics. Their girls' hockey is good. They just pour absolutely everything. So I'm looking forward to seeing the impact that those sides and Bosch will make.
All right. Thank you. That's a nice. I'm just checking there are no rainbows out. So it's a nice day.
Credit where credit is
He's
due,
happy.
Alex.
He's in a Jeppe
Remember,
jersey.
my issue's never been with Bosch.
Yeah,
It's been with you.
All right. We'll have to organise next Noord-Suid that there's a bit of a Bosch grey College reunion, because I think they last played in the 80s or something. And alongside Jeppe, we're one of the few schools that has a positive win rate. 3 matches I want to get you guys to call. All right,
I have to go 100%. I have to go 100%.
I'm going to put the pressure on you guys.
I'm surprised.
So, first match, Paul Roos, Garsfontein. Paul Roos, undisputably the top school rugby side last year. Garsfontein won SDC Noord-Suid. So that's the first one. Paul Boys, Affies, massive match, and then Grey College, Jeppe. Those are the 3 matches to call. Let's start with Paul Roos, Garsfontein.
I think Paul Roos, back at home. I think they're still very hard to beat at the Makota. And Garsfontein, obviously, having won SVD, the Noord-Suid Cup last year, and so I know they'll be coming with momentum. They got a good win against this Jeppe side here, but I just think Paul Roos, they may have gone a bit of a slow start. With the result against Noord-Suid, but it's hard for me to go against Paul Roos at home.
Paul Roos? No explanation.
Nothing more needed. All right. Paul Boys, Affies.
Yeah, I think I'm going Paul Boys. Obviously sticking to the Western Cape here, and I know that Affies had a statement win last week, but I just feel like I'm on Sput's train in terms of they're a youngish side last year, and then now I feel like they are injured for a good year. Shona Russell's not going to allow what happened last year to happen again, and I think for them, next week's going to be when they announce, okay guys, we're still here. It's not just Paul here. It's not just the Paul Roos. We're still here, and we're still a big player in the Western Cape.
I want to remind Sput that he put up on our big calls for the season that Paul Boys will end in the top 3. So I think, Sput, you almost have to go that they're then going to beat Affies in the Western Cape.
The thing is, if Paul Boys ends in the top 3, they're still placed for another 2.
Yeah.
This is true. So then you're saying Affies is going to be?
No, Paul Boys by a whisker. The thing that'll make Affies so dangerous in that game is nobody mauls like Affies in schoolboy rugby. Jaco Koch is a master of the art, and he's their forwards coach. But I'm backing the difference Neil de Bruin would make, and the experience of Shaun Erasmus. They'll know how to drag those grade 11s who struggled last year back to them, to make themselves believe in themselves. And to say, listen, it was always part of the process. The target was this year. We knew we were going to struggle. They'll change the struggle into a positive. And Paul Boys high by a whisker.
By a whisker. Well, you're backing the same sides in those first 2 encounters. And then the big one. They'll be looking for revenge. Grey College, Jeppe. As you sit in a Jeppe jersey, Sput.
Yeah, old school. I love you guys. It is amazing, but you got to get that Grey College jersey.
It's on its way.
Ready.
It's on its way.
You got to get it ready. No, thank you very much once again to the guys at Old School. They're so good to us. And I'm obviously wearing the Jeppe jersey today because of my pick. A couple of the Affies old boys have sent a few messages after wearing the Affies jersey last week, and so did a few of the Grey old boys asking, what were you wearing? I love the way Jeppe does things. I love the way Drickus Venter coaches. I really do. I love his demeanor. I love the way he also handles, taking phone calls from us and being bothered and helping out with info. I absolutely love the way they do things. But they'll come up short against Grey College this year. And they will come up short because if Grey College get 50% of ball possession, sides are going to struggle. Chambriel, Adams, Van der Linde at fly off. Then Sherwin Base, the scrum off. He's on red hot form. Played Craven Week last year, out of a cherry sort of third side setup at Grey College. And back of forwards where David Hayadakis, their loose head, has really been good. Tyropoulos, Claude Steyn, 2 big lock forwards climbing in. Grey College by 15.
It's a hard one to call because Jeppe leaving here today probably feels like they weren't at their best. He's won their game and made a massive comeback, but that first half will probably still bother them and the way they played, and they'll be looking to obviously rectify that next week against Grey College. Does lightning strike twice? Unfortunately, I don't think so. Drickus Venter will probably think that I got some issue against him, having picked against him in back-to-back weekends. But I do think Grey College win the by whisker. I think it's going to be close. I think I'm going Grey College by 3.
Ooh, okay, so you are going the same calls on both sides for all 3 matches, so you can't be worse off.
No, but
this
just
week.
some clarity. No, some clarity. Yeah, he's going Grey College by 3. So if it's Grey College by 8 or more, I win.
Okay.
If it's Grey College by 8 or less,
Yes.
you can take
You
it.
can. Okay. All right. Well, we've heard it here. The news from the gentleman alongside me is that Paul Roos, Paul Boys, and Grey College are going to win those 3 matches we've spoken about from Noord-Suid. But Noord-Suid is so much bigger than that. It starts this week and it's going to run all the way until next week, Tuesday. It's an incredible tournament. It's happening down in the Western Cape. All the matches are going to be on SuperSport School, so make sure you tune in. We'll be doing Rugby on 216 from Old School's fantastic store in Stellenbosch next week, where we'll catch you up on everything that's happened at it. When we come back from the break, I'm going to be joined by some of the Jeppe boys who, quite understandably after today, are elated.
Honey, I think the career guy's here.
Je komt mee boksen. Kiwis? Anna? Maar waar is die Anna? Wow! Exemos, wow! Breng van mij die box.
The Courier Guy, the courier behind the box.
Can you deliver something for me?
Where to?
Hij wees van mij. Put this one in the Springs box.
Look at man. Hey, buena.
In a world where every second counts, will he make it on time? Out here on the streets, anything can happen when the odds are stacked against you. One man finds the will, the drive, the passion to steer his path to destiny. It's a Swift.
Sure. You sure? Sure.
Yeah, man, you sure?
Yes, I am sure. Look at this thing. It's presidential. What if we get caught, man? Nobody gets caught in South Africa, man.
That's true.
Now lift. I'm sure.
Don't just be sure. Be sure. King Price in sure. Insurance you can be sure about. Visit kingprice.co.za.
Welcome back to Rugby on 216. I'm joined by Lindelani Talent and Lagan from Jeppe. We've just wrapped up Kes Jeppe. Jeppe have come out victorious. So I want to start off, guys, just by asking you how you're feeling after what was a roller coaster of a match, coming from behind to win.
It really is mixed emotions. It's an exciting feeling, honestly, because of the boys. We know we're doing this. It's not only about us, about the team, but it's about the community. So I felt like we dug deep for that win. So it's really an exciting feeling, honestly.
Yeah, but coming out with the win in the end, Lindelani, I just want to ask you. You were under immense pressure, backtracking into your in-goal area. You put a kick that went out past the 50, just about where we are. Under pressure like that in the big derby, how do you manage to do that?
I mean, it's not really easy to what you call kick back, a kick like that under immense pressure. But I mean, I had to put my team through and, just keep calm. Because one thing me and my team say, just keep composure, and then do what you want, and then maybe you will achieve what you want.
Absolutely. And then Lagan, the forwards got stuck in to put through a couple of those pick and drive tries to bring you back into the match. Happy day to be a forward?
Happy day to be a forward. Yeah, the boys came out. They really got stuck in. They really pushed forward, became physical. It was a physical game.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. What we're actually going to do today here on Rugby on 216 is we're going to play Who's Most Likely To. We did this with the SA under 18 players last year. I'm literally just going to ask you a question about your team, who's most likely to do something, and then we want to get different answers from you. We want to debate about it. We're going to start off with a nice one. I think it's always interesting. Who's most likely to be the team DJ?
Team DJ?
Him, definitely.
Lindelani. What sort of music are we listening to in the Jeppe change room?
I mean, for one, I'm a very religious person. I believe in God, so I start off in my day listening to gospel, but then when I wanna go in the game, I just start listening to my piano because that's what gets me in the mojo. And then you see like that kick, calm down, relax, composure, and then I don't have to stress too much because my piano has me.
So I'm a piano. Is there a theme for the team? A theme song, music you guys are listening to together? What's the vibe?
Well, definitely, there's no really a theme in our change room vibe. Usually, what we actually listen to is our war cries.
Okay.
Whenever we're together, we sing the school song. Do you hear the people, the Jeppe boys sing every single Jeppe song you can think of? Really, we never play a speaker in our change room. That's the rule that we set for ourselves. So it's really mostly about Jeppe and nothing else really.
That's interesting. Do you hear the Jeppe boys sing? We definitely heard you sing today. That's for sure. I'm getting goosebumps about that. Right, then let's another one from the team. Who's most likely to post inspirational quotes?
Inspirational quotes.
Like on Instagram, that caption.
Grady.
Grady. All the way. Grady and Gui.
You seem to be in agreement there. Why him?
Grady is just a motivational person.
Okay.
He comes here and just tell you, keep your head up. You got this, boy. Don't back down. I mean, when I was down, he hit me down there. I started vomiting. Grady said, get up. We're left in 2 minutes of the game. So I think he's most likely to post motivational quotes on the social media. I think he's a motivational person. He's the one that motivates the team, most like him and talent.
Yeah.
Talent. You have a talent for motivating?
Well, I do motivate the guys a lot of times because we know how this setting can be. Because as a rugby player, it's quite difficult playing under a crowd. Everything, it's quite hard to stay focused. Sometimes you knock on, like I knocked on, my team had me. So it's also like the line maybe makes a good kick, well done in the line, we like that. When he knocks on, it's fine, next moment, just to keep the vibe in the team. We gotta believe in ourselves because not many guys are believing in us, so we gotta believe in ourselves too. So I'm pretty sure I am the guy who motivates the other guys too. So.
Half-time painted a very different picture to full-time. You guys were down under the pump, scored just before the break. They actually wanted to take a penalty, but they'd called the scrum, so they had to take the scrum. Then they managed to score. So what was the message at half-time, talking about motivation, to pick you guys up?
So I think when Jeppe's got their back against the wall, they're strongest. So at half-time, we knew our job and we knew what we had to do. So we came back and we actually managed to do it. Yeah.
Amazing. All right. Then, next one, let's have a look here. Who's most likely to be late to training because they were fixing their hair?
Jola Kilo.
Definitely
Jola Kilo.
Side shows.
He's going to hate us for this, but it's definitely Joe.
Jola Kilo. He's a side show, man.
Okay.
Side shows. The 15.
The 15.
The
So making sure he's looking good, taking the high balls.
Definitely.
I can bet you that.
Okay, great. Then let's get into sort of the more technical sides. Who's most likely to win a 100-meter race?
No, definitely.
Lindelani Kampule. He's the rock star. He's the speed star. Whenever we wanna go there, Lani, take us out. So it's definitely him.
Do you run 100 meters at all?
I do run 100 meters.
For school?
Yeah, for school.
What are the times looking like?
The first time I ran was 10:3, but then now, obviously now I'm slow now. So probably like.
What do you mean? Obviously, we saw you today. There was nothing slow.
I don't take athletics seriously. That's the thing. I just.
Doesn't take athletics seriously and yet has run a 10.3.
I ran 10.3 once upon a time. I'm not serious. Once upon a time.
Still, at some point in your life, you've run a 10.3. That's insane. Okay, so then I agree. Not knowing anyone else in the team, then yes, you'll win a 100-meter race. But then who's most likely to run a marathon?
Talent.
Me.
100%.
Okay.
I think it's me, really.
Do you like the fitness? Or you just like running?
Well, sir, my position demands a lot running.
Yes. Yeah,
so
yeah.
I do actually enjoy it. I try to be first at every single thing that I can. It's just the effort part of it. So I wouldn't mind running a marathon actually. I might train with these guys to run one actually soon.
Okay, you're just being roped into this, eh?
They have
to understand the punishment that awaits you, but I don't think anyone really in the team would get super excited if coaches say today's training, we're doing fitness.
Yes,
right, okay, cool. But hopefully no fitness at your next training after today's performance. Who's most likely to forget their boots?
Dimpum Gigi.
Yeah, the guy.
The wing, the number 14 wing, Dimpum Gigi. I think he's the one who's most likely to forget his boots.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a lot on his mind sometimes. So.
But in the match, he's focused?
He's very focused. He's a wonderful player. He's a good player. He knows what to do.
Yeah.
He knows his job and
Okay.
Yeah.
And then talking about players, who's most likely to excel out of position?
I think Andre Poulton. Although
Versatile player.
he didn't play, yeah. I think he's just a versatile player for the fact that he's a prop, but sometimes he can think as a flank and think as a fly half, and he's just rugby IQ is accurate.
So he's a prop who can think as a fly.
He is a prop, I know. It sounds crazy.
He says that he's Damien.
He's Damien Willems.
A prop saying he's Damien
He's
Willems.
Damien Willems.
So he won't only call the scrum, he'll also do the scrum.
So everything. He'll do. He's the type of player to throw in the line out and then actually run and pass the ball to the Hoover. He's definitely
You
that
will
guy.
see a step for me.
Okay.
Definitely. And a goose. You will see that.
Oh, really?
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Definitely.
And then having to pack behind him in the scrum.
So, what a player he is, sir. So to give you perspective, in under 15 he came to Jeppe as a centre. Then they moved him to 8th man, and then now he's playing prop.
Okay.
So it just shows you how versatile he is.
I believe you now. He's played everywhere. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this question sort of ties into that. Who's most likely to bench the most in the team?
I would say
Bench as in not. I've asked this question before, and they thought I meant bench like sit on the side. I mean like. bench.
Oh,
Just to-
bench.
yeah. See, I had to make it clear.
Well, in the team,
Andre. I say Andre.
it has to be Andre.
Yeah.
It has to be
Okay.
Andre.
So
Because he's the prop.
the prop flank fly half who can play 8th man as well is the one who's going to bench the most.
Definitely
Okay.
him, yeah.
All right. Then one more before we get into some more serious questions. Who's the most likely to record a TikTok dance?
Him.
No.
In the London Gambule is definitely the TikTok guy. I think you should actually check his TikTok actually. You can
Is there an at we can go and find and see any
He's
dances?
lying. He's lying. Okay, but I would make a TikTok. Like I would. I'm the guy.
Have you?
Have I? Nah. I mean, I've thought about it, but like too much.
Not yet.
I don't know.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Let's get into the serious stuff now. You guys have beaten Kez, which our co-host on SuperSport Schools' Rugby on 2 and 6 Sput's very happy about because he called it. Cooks is less happy because he called Kez. I remained neutral. I just came to experience the vibe. Next week, Noord-Suid, you're going to face Rondebosch, which I'm excited for, having gone to Rondebosch. So I'll be there. I'll be watching you guys. But more importantly, it is the second round, the reunion, the clash again against Grey College. So I'm going to ask you, first of all, let's be optimistic. Who's going to score the winning try against Grey?
So I'm a bad guy at predicting stuff, honestly, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna come out strong. We're not gonna back off. We're not gonna. Obviously, our backs might be on the wall sometime, but we're gonna obviously come as Jeppe boys and pull something different.
From what I've seen today, if your backs are against the wall, the other team needs to watch out. And who do you think's maybe the person who'll make the difference in the side? Maybe who's going to score the winning try, slot the winning drop goal, place kick? What do you think?
So I think Nehemia Hollenbach is going to be essential for us against Grey College.
Yes.
He really is a sniper.
Today, some of that kicking that we saw from sensational. So yeah. And last year when you guys won, just for some interest, were any of you in the side?
Yes, sir. All three of us are all in the
Okay.
side. Yes,
Well,
sir.
then you don't need to be told about Matt Kutsia and the fact that you score one try to their 3, but he slotted 5 penalties and the conversion, which is mainly how you won. So kicking might be important. We're excited to see it, and it's going to be down in the Western Cape, which is sort of no home ground advantage for either of you. For either sides. Last one, then about that. What do you think? More pressure on this fixture today, or that one coming up next week?
It's equal.
Just another game. So.
Another
Just
game.
another game.
And you know what? That's what your coach said when he was interviewed an hour before your match. We've said we've never seen a head coach so chilled and relaxed before the biggest derby in the school's campaign. And he said it's just another game. So love it.
Yeah.
Last one, guys. From Jeppe and the squad today, who's most likely to play for the Springboks?
I have my mind on a lot of players actually because I think
and you just told us you're bad at predicting things. So
well,
maybe
sir,
don't
I
tell
have faith in guys, but I can't predict really.
Okay, who do you have faith
sir.
in?
I have faith in. I can name numerous of guys: Andre Poulton, Negan Laishal, Delane Kambule, Nehemia Hollenbach.
He forgot himself.
Joel.
He forgot himself.
So I believe all of us are going to make a difference in junior rugby, not just in junior rugby, but professionally. So I think whoever gets the opportunity is going to make the most out of it.
Amazing. You guys seem to, the team culture that you've got is amazing. Like you say, just another game coming up next week. And you seem to be so well bonded together. Just a last word on that, the team culture that is Jeppe.
Yeah, so I think we build unity between all of us. So we don't try to put another guy in another culture or whatever. We also diverse, so we try. You bring your stuff, you bring yours, you bring yours. Let's make something big out of it. Because at Jeppe, we are all from different backgrounds, different provinces, some of us different countries. So just that, I think it's just we come to one place and then we learn the culture that's already there, because we don't just bring our own stuff. The culture is already set at Jeppe. So I think that's one thing, is just to buy into the school and what they've created already. Yes, sir.
Well, guys, congratulations. Thank you so much. We're going to see you at Grey. We're going to take a quick break now. When we come back, we are going to have our Ask the Wraith segment, and then we'll also play The Impossible Truth. See you in a bit.
Some things you don't choose. They choose you. A name, a history, a legacy that came long before you and will last long after you're gone. It's not just about the game. It's the moments that shape you. The early mornings, the long bus rides, the chants that never fade. The friendships, the rivalries, the feeling of being part of something bigger. It's a belonging, something you carry with you wherever you go. Because once you're a part of it, you always will be.
Sure. Sure. You sure? Sure. Sure. Sure.
Yeah, man, you sure?
Yes, I am sure. Look at this thing. It's presidential. What if we get caught, man? Nobody gets caught in South Africa, man.
That's true.
Now lift. I'm sure.
Don't just be sure. Be sure. King Price in sure. Insurance you can be sure about. Visit kingprice.co.za.
Welcome back to Rugby on 216, brought to you by Thirsty. We're on tour today. We're at King Edward VII School, where we've just watched the King Price Derby Series match between King Edward and Jeppe wrap up. Jeppe were victorious. We've spoken about all that. We've had some of the Jeppe boys on. All we have left to do is ask the ref, which is me, and then the impossible truth.
I was going to ask you, say, where's the ref?
That's why I slipped it in, because after last week...
Are we getting somebody in here or whatever? Okay. All right, Alex, let's keep it simple. Let's keep it very obvious. Yellow card, situation, deliberate knockdown. It was almost a game-changing moment.
Yeah, and no yellow card given. So a lot of the time people ask me about, okay, when is it a yellow card? When is it not? Sometimes it's obvious. I think today was quite obvious, but I want to just explain sort of the framework that gets followed so that people can understand, when is it a scrum? When is it a penalty only? When is it a yellow card? When is it a penalty try? So if the ball is knocked on and a player has no realistic chance of gathering it, it will be deemed to be deliberate. Even if it isn't actually, in the true sense of the word, deliberate, if they have no chance of gathering it, so they've gone with one hand, they've hit it forward, they're never going to catch that ball, then it will be deemed deliberate, and then we start at a penalty. Then we look for more. Is there a potential overlap? If there's a potential overlap, or we're in the danger zone, so really close to the try line, then there'll be a yellow card as well. And then if it prevents a probable try from being scored, then it will be yellow card and penalty try. Today, there was definitely an overlap. And so it was correctly awarded as a penalty, but should have been a yellow card as well. There was a definite overlap there. You could even say potentially a try would have been scored, but a bit too much doubt there. What that just does is reaffirm that it should have been a yellow card. And I don't think it's a debatable one. And I'm happy to talk about it also because I think the referee today was superb in everything else, just that one call.
Yeah, I also thought Peter Nel was really good. So in no uncertain terms, I want to say this is not an attack on a referee. It's just, it was very obvious. But this is sometimes where my question comes, Alex. He also has 2 assistant referees. And yes, this was in the middle of the field, and the referee out of the 3 probably had the best view. But over on the far side, there was an assistant referee that could see. It wasn't just an overlap. It was a 4-man overlap. Yeah. There was an overlap for the overlap. You know, and it could have been one of those situations. Let's say Jackson did kick the drop goal. Then Jeppe would have walked away, and that decision would have had serious consequences. So in saying that, once again, Peter, I'll look into the camera. You had a fantastic game. But I feel in that situation, with decisions like that, assistant referees need to play a role.
Also, funny enough, I mean, the kid's player, you could see as he went for it, and he put his hand in his head and he goes, oh no. Because I think as a player sometimes, especially the instinct when you know, it's like he knows, like it's an old touch rugby move. Where you sort of find yourself like you try to create momentum, or you get your hand in the way, and sometimes I think players do it, you sort of react. And it was interesting. One was the yellow card. I think I know that there was an advantage for another penalty. Went back to one, sort of happened within a phase of each other.
He gave them the option. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's probably the big talking point. But I agree with you guys. I thought Pindal was fantastic. I thought the game it allowed the game to go well. And most important thing, I love the way he communicated with his players. He came so clearly, so calmly, made sure that he was in control, and also allowed the boys to play rugby as well. Allow a derby, when there's like when there's high spirits and boys are charged up. He allowed them to play rugby as well, which was fantastic. But he wasn't the star, which was your one.
Very, very important statement.
He wanted the players. There was a showcase. It wasn't a Peter Null day where we look back. It's a day where the players and the coaches look back, and we should have no issues with the referee.
Absolutely, and I think like you say, the fact that he was so calm, composed in the middle of this, what was a cauldron today, that you notice it in derbies that are refereed well, and I hope also that's there's some learning there in what we've explained to people at home who can now understand a bit more about what should happen when there's a deliberate knock-on, because people have a love-hate relationship with the rule. If it happens against you, you want to yellow. If it happens for you, like you want play on, like yeah. Well, all that we have left to do on Rugby on 2 on 6 is the impossible truth. I am 3 from 3 so far, and I fear that I'm going to fall today because I'm sure you guys have been upping the level.
But I think you must talk, because when I've started, I've led us astray.
Okay.
All right, it's Alexander White, referee of the day. Grey College played Monash in a King Price Derby Series match, and very interestingly, 3 classmates were on the coaching staff. They all matriculated at Grey College in the year 2000. 2 of them on the coaching staff of Grey College, and 1 of them on the coaching staff of Monument Hoërskool. Okay. And all 3 classmates in the year 2000.
Seeing as we are in King Edward, I figured that I'll keep it local. I'll keep it where the derby is. In 2009, the King Edward side that had the Springboks Karen Tubeni in there, they lost to Jeppe 65-10.
That is the statement, 65-10. Okay, right. So I looked back at the Kes Jeppe fixtures before this, and I was looking at the streaks and checking the last now 5 fixtures. They've all won away, and when last did Jeppe have more than 3 wins in a row? It was in the 50s. But I cannot for the life of me even remember who won in 2009 or what the score was, or even if I noticed a score that big. But when Sput said his fact, I thought there's a lot of information in here, and this seems like the kind of thing that would have been brought up by Grey College guys because it's like a big deal. So I'm going to say that, Sput, yours is true.
It is. And,
4 from 4.
And the way you think about things, I just once wish you can go, I know this because I know my rugby, and this is why I know it.
Yeah,
but it's like playing Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah.
To be fair, as soon as you said it, I thought, this is true. This seems like this is something that Grey College will definitely have.
I'll tell you, it's very unique, though. Yanni du Plessis, head coach of Monash, he matriculated in the same year as Grey College director of rugby and backline coach Bobby Joubert in the year 2000. Alongside them was a man with the name Vian de Prier, that also became a Springbok. And all three of them in the same class of the year of 2000.
And then,
mine is your
K's
2009. 165.10.
Ah,
It's one of the biggest ones they've ever done.
Sneaky.
Once again,
Wow.
he didn't know.
So I would have.
The right thing.
If I'd seen that score, I probably would have flipped it now and said, "Yeah, you're right, Cooks."
Yeah.
So okay, well, that's all we have time for on today's episode of Rugby on 216. Next week, we will be telling you all about Noord-Suid, and we'll be doing it from Old School's incredible store in Stellenbosch. Remember, next week's episode is going to air on Wednesday at 7 instead of Tuesday because there is live Noord-Suid on Tuesday, including that great Jeppe match that we're looking forward to. We'll see you then, but for now, bye-bye.